This is a massive pool designed to test one's combat prowess. By striking the dragon head lever above the pool with full force, a wave is generated on the water's surface. The distance the wave travels determines whether the test taker qualifies to become a Sea King. However, this season's examinations have now concluded. To the abbot's surprise, not a single one of the 13 test takers passed. Furious, the abbot rose and slowly walked over to the group of 8-year-olds, trembling with fear under his gaze. The children were not scolded as they had expected. Instead, the abbot was deeply puzzled. Despite having devoted themselves fully to training in every aspect of daily life, their martial skills varied dramatically. Turning back to the pool, the abbot sank his chi into his dantian, then suddenly threw a powerful punch at the dragon head lever. But something strange happened. Not a single ripple appeared on the water. Just as everyone was bewildered, a massive wave surged violently across the surface. And then, ahead of the wave, a figure suddenly emerged. Gathering his strength, he threw a punch at the dragon head lever, instantly generating another enormous wave in the pool. This new wave crashed head-on into the abbot's, the impact so powerful it shattered the pool. His combat power was actually on par with the abbot's. Then, the 8-year-old Lai Xiaolong stormed angrily up to the abbot, demanding to know why he hadn't been allowed to take the test. Instead of answering directly, the abbot led him to a mountain cave. They walked slowly into the deepest part of the cave, until they reached a hidden chamber. The abbot told Lai Xiaolong that behind this door lay the answer to why he could not become a Sea King. Placing his palm against the massive door, the abbot tensed every muscle in his body. Gradually, with increasing force, he pushed until the 100-ton iron door bent and deformed. Then, with a loud crack, the bolt snapped. Lai Xiaolong rushed inside, but the sight before him left him utterly stunned. Behind the door was a gigantic, tunnel-like hole, as if gnawed through by a giant rat. The abbot explained that this tunnel had been punched through the mountain by a mysterious man 40 years ago with his bare hands in a single night. Hearing this, Lai Xiaolong was completely shocked. As one of China's ancient fist techniques, Dian, rock striking, involves using one's body as a weapon. Striking, impact, whipping kicks, to polish incredibly hard rock into smooth stone spheres. Back when Lai Xiaolong first arrived at Shaolin Temple, the abbot had brought him to the Dian Chamber, which displayed the works of all previous Sea Kings. But one Sea King's exhibit was empty, because his work was too large to fit in the room. At the time, Lai Xiaolong didn't understand. Now, seeing the mysterious master's work with his own eyes, Lai Haiwang finally realized the truth. The abbot told him that the reason he couldn't become a Sea King was not because of his fiery temperament, but because his skill was simply insufficient. He was not yet strong enough. The man who punched through the mountain was a foreigner, yet he inherited the title of Sea King. Hearing this, Lai Xiaolong gritted his teeth in anger. He demanded to know where that man was now. The abbot replied that he was no longer here. That man, who had tunneled through the mountain with his fists, was none other than Dorian. Now the mystery was finally unveiled. Seeing how polite Lai Haiwang was, Dorian slowly began to recount the past. 40 years ago, he left Shaolin Temple. Over a decade later, he heard that a new genius had emerged there, and had inherited the title of Sea King. He never expected to meet him here today. Dorian then challenged Lai Haiwang to a fight, but Lai Haiwang declined. No matter what terrible crimes Dorian had committed, as fellow disciples of the same school, they could not duel. But it didn't matter. Since Lai Haiwang wouldn't fight, Dabutu decided to take matters into his own hands. As a top-tier karateka who had lost an arm to Dorian, he was determined to settle the score today. Dabutu stripped off his shirt, revealing muscles hard as bedrock. A great battle was about to begin.